All right, let's just dive right in. We are in the middle of this massive shift in how we get our information, and it's happening so fast it's almost impossible to keep up. And the thing driving all of this? You guessed it, artificial intelligence. Okay, I want to start with just one number, a really big one, 1,127%. Just let that sink in for a second. What on earth could grow that much, that fast, in just 1 year? Well, here's the answer. That number, that's the explosive growth of unreliable AI-generated news websites. We're talking about sites that look totally real, but they're just pumping out completely made-up stuff, flooding the internet at a rate that's just, honestly, it's hard to believe. So you might be thinking, okay, this is just some tech bros messing around, right? But no, this isn't just random noise. A huge chunk of this information flood is totally intentional. It's actually a calculated part of a much bigger global strategy, which, of course, leads to the big question, who is behind the curtain? Well, a recent EU report actually gives us a pretty clear picture. It's all about what they call foreign information manipulation and interference, or FIMI. And the report points fingers at specific state actors, with Russia and China popping up again and again. Their goals are pretty straightforward, really. Use these AI tools to weaken democratic processes and, at the same time, blast out their own pro-government narratives. And if you want to get a sense of just how massive this is, check out this number. Over 7,700. That's how many fake accounts Meta took down in just one operation. One. And it was linked to Chinese law enforcement. So yeah, we are not talking about a small-time issue here. This is an industrial-scale operation, plain and simple. Okay, so it's easy to focus on the bad guys, right? The people who are trying to mislead us. But that's only half the story. The problem is also the tool itself. The technology has this really fundamental and, honestly, kind of weird flaw. Yeah, they actually have a name for it. They call it an AI hallucination. It's exactly what it sounds like. The AI just makes things up. It will invent facts, create sources that don't exist, just pull details out of nowhere. But here's the craziest part. It presents all this fake information with total confidence, like it's stating a proven fact. So you're probably wondering, how often does this actually happen? Well, a huge international study looked into this, and the results are not great. Some of the most popular AIs are just shockingly unreliable. Look at Gemini, a 76% error rate when summarizing news. I mean, think about that. That means more than 3/4 of the time, the summary it gives you is just plain wrong. And look, we're not just talking about tiny little mistakes. The big takeaway from all this research is pretty simple. When you ask an AI to summarize the news for you, it's basically a coin flip, a 50-50 shot that what you get back is going to be seriously incorrect. Okay, so let's recap. We've got state actors pushing fake stories on purpose, and then we have the AI itself just making stuff up by accident. It's like a two-front war on truth. So where does all this digital sludge actually end up? You know exactly where. It ends up right here, in the social media feeds we scroll through every single day. There was this huge European study that looked at not just how much misinformation is out there, but how much of it we actually see. And the numbers are wild. On a platform like TikTok, about 20%, that's 1 out of every 5 posts you see, contains misinformation. It's not on the fringes anymore, it's right in the middle of our digital lives. And here's the thing. Because AI makes it so cheap and so incredibly fast to create fake content, we're heading towards a really scary tipping point. A lot of experts are now predicting that very, very soon, the sheer volume of fake news and sort of semi-fake news is going to actually surpass the amount of real, fact-based news out there. I mean, the entire well of information we drink from is being poisoned. So just to put it all together, you've got state actors, you've got broken tech, you've got social media feeds that are just swamped with garbage. All of this leads to one final and maybe the most important consequence of all. It's something we're really just starting to wrap our heads around. And it's this. We have to remember that AI is not neutral. It's not some kind of objective, all-knowing God in the machine. No way. These are products built by people. And that means they are shaped by the data they're fed. And maybe even more importantly, by the values and the built-in biases of the people and the cultures that created them. And this is where all the pieces of the puzzle come together. The handful of countries that are leading the charge in AI development, well, they're the exact same countries that reports identify as the biggest players in these global information campaigns. That's not a coincidence, right? What's happening is that their specific cultural and political worldview is literally being coded into the software that the rest of us are starting to use to make sense of the world. So that leaves us with one last and pretty heavy question to think about. As AI becomes our go-to for everything, for news, for answers, for explaining the world, are we, without even realizing it, just adopting the worldview of the people who built it? Could this be the beginning of a whole new kind of cultural empire? Not one built on land or armies, but a much more subtle one, built entirely on the flow of information itself.